Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Nuffink and Like It, the podcast about the FWA that apparently people don't want to stop. I'm Kieran Lefort. Joining me, as usual, my partner's in crime here. He's never had to sign an NDA and he hasn't read the employee handbook. It's Eddie Sideburns. Eddie, how are
you? I don't know what an NDA means, baby. I'm doing well. I am so ready for again. Every time we come to these just before the recordings, I get really excited because I know I'm going to either watch something incredibly bad that's still incredibly good and enjoyable, or surprisingly good and surprisingly even more enjoyable. And I'm very excited to talk about this. Can't wait.
And of course, the other member of the team, his chin is up, his tits are out, so watch out for the fucking massive shoe. It's Andy Ogden. Andy, how have you been?
You don't want to get hit by my shoe. Size 14, exactly. You'd be dead.
Exactly. Yes, keep one by your side to fend off burglars.
Doing well, Kieran, as ever, ready to put the boot in on Steve Linsky.
That's my job. Come on.
So we are covering episodes 13 to 16 of Frontier Wrestling on Portsmouth MyTV. Just quickly, a little thing from last time. Remember last time out, we talked about the Anna in Wonderland documentary where Big Brother Series 1 runner-up Anna Nolan investigated, let's just say, multiple aspects of women's wrestling in the United Kingdom of the early 2000s. There's a segment where she goes to see the Knights and we're told they're off to a show in Weston-super-Mare. I recognise the building as I've shot wrestling in there, but I've never been to Weston-super-Mare. And it turns out it's actually the Marina Centre in Great Yarmouth, which is almost 300 miles away from Weston-super-Mare. Tremendous work. So, episode 13, taped September the 1st, 2001 at Harrow High School at the Back to School event, aired October the 15th. And we open, as we frequently do on these shows, with incredible acting.
Oh,
get me the commissioner. It's that music from the fucking thing you see before the cinema adverts, and it's like
no, it's a Rusty Music Ralph Cardle original composition. So our 15th UWA refugee Dino Scarlo arrives at Commissioner Demon Fort's office, offering to help her solve her problem with her mystery caller. He likes his coffee with lots of sugar, lots of milk, apparently. He manipulates her into giving him a match as a vulgar display of something, as he says. She should make the arrangements. He doesn't care who he's fighting, and he'll be in touch in a couple of weeks. To be continued.
One thing on my notes of this segment, you couldn't really understand what they were saying. Like the acoustics was shocking.
Yeah.
Also, Dino has the darkest eye pupils ever. You know, like when Mr. Burns dressed up as an alien, like going, "I come in peace." And also,
it's when he takes the pills. He takes the pills.
He takes the pills, yeah. Good morning, starshine.
He does come across as a little bit like a shark dressed as a bartender. Yeah, like those dark eyes and the waistcoat and the whole.
That's also one of my notes. Remember, waistcoats were a thing back in the early 2000s. Jeff had one from Burton's as well.
You and I used to have a segment when I would pop up on GCP where you would basically slate Jeff's wardrobe for 5 minutes, depending on the fashions of who we've been talking about. Is that going to make a comeback on this show? I remember Jeff having one of those shirts. He looked like a proper knob.
He did look like a knob with a waistcoat.
When we come to his match, there's some comparisons I gave him, Dino Scarlo, and I'm very interested to hear. But he's like coming in. He's like she asks him if he knows the answers, or he asks her if she knows the answers. She doesn't have the answers. He says, "Don't call him if you don't have the answers." He then says, "Act fast, think fast, move fast." And I'm like looking at this guy, and I'm like, I can't understand some of the words you're saying, but I can understand some of them. And then he talks about like he hasn't been in the ring for a while, and then he's a Jippo fighter, and then
did he actually say that?
He says something about being a Jippo fighter or something.
Okay.
He hasn't been in the ring for a while because he's a Jippo fighter or something like that. And he leaves without getting his coffee anyway in the first fucking play. A goose chase.
Well, Eddie did used to run a scrapyard wrestling federation on the UWA.
That's true, yeah.
But like, Because the display, I just looked at him and I was like, goodness me, this guy's something. This is a character. He has at least a little bit of charisma in him.
Yeah.
Seems like a car salesman type of guy. So I'm very interested to see where we go with this.
He is indeed a character. I think we'll discuss him more when we get to his match. Our first match is, you will not believe this, it's the New Breed against the Castanos. I feel like this is like the 9th time we've seen this in 13 episodes. These two teams cannot stop having matches. This is at least the 3rd, possibly the 4th.
If we include the
three-way,
the freeway tag,
yeah,
the one where they lost the belts,
yeah,
which I'm pretty sure was the freeway tag, was it not?
No, that was the Castanos retaining, because neither of them were legal, and nor was the man they pinned.
Yeah.
I think this is the 4th match.
Also, where the feck is Capo Can at this point? And
Yeah,
also,
he's gone.
Yeah, he's just disappeared into thin air. I don't know what it's like when it's like you're trying to do, like, it's like a TW game where like you're desperate to try and get these two tag teams to have chemistry with each other, and you just keep putting them in matches like every single show.
No,
it's like,
no two people in this ring have had chemistry since, I don't know, GCSEs. No two people in this ring mesh at any point. I had forgotten about the ringside camera with the massive vignette border. It's like watching wrestling through a bog roll tube.
It's like, when you go to the seaside and you have like them binocular bloody things with the people.
Yeah. Glory hole pro wrestling. Though someone's probably going to trademark that now. Jesus Christ, we don't want to see that. Jorge means business, as only a Colombian can, says Mark Priest. Don't know what that means. He then puts on a variety of silly voices as he speculates who could be behind the mysterious threatening phone calls. Yes. His guesses are Paul. You thought there were actual other people?
I thought it was actually just like he'd got other people to come in and say the name. And then
well, either he did or he was actually good at it. You might have something to praise Mark Priest for on this show for a change.
I praised him already for recapping the intro. I was like, that's decent. I like that. That's good, even though we've already seen it.
He guesses Paul Travell, Mark Sloan, and Doug Williams. Doug does have form for this kind of thing, as we saw on UWA Rampage, but he's more of an emailer than a phone caller. The Castanos are on top. They batter Ash. All the cameras completely miss illegal man Alex, flinging him into the railings. They thankfully do catch his Azai moonsault, though, even if Priest suggests he flips through 365 degrees to deliver it. Ash takes a neck breaker all wonky because he's crap, which looks like it hurt more than it needed to. Alex runs the ropes badly and hits a rubbish head scissors because he's crap. He then also does a tornado DDT the wrong way. As Priest talks about fat, greasy 40-year-old men who can't get girlfriends.
That line,
yeah.
I honestly felt hurt.
Never felt so seen.
Yeah.
Is Curve's tattoo like a tramp stamp, like a big tramp stamp that he's got?
It's a pretty big tramp. That thing's huge.
I don't get why the heels are doing all the high-flying flippy moves. It's cheating.
Because as we've discussed, Frankensteiner and Moonsault are the only two things that Alex Castano can do competently. Did you see him trying to run the ropes?
I mean, there was lots of things. I mean, there was a devastating rolling thunder and leg drop combo that looked like the absolute drizzling shits.
Proper roly-poly action, weren't it, Eddie?
The double underhook was superb. I've put that down. I've also put down there are so many empty seats on display, and then the devastating rolling thunder leg drop. One of the worst fucking things I've ever seen. What the fuck?
This is clearly earlier in the taping, because we saw a match from later in the taping on our last episode where there are only 3 empty rows of seats that they should have removed at the back of the Hardcam shop. Here, I counted 5 empty rows of seats. It's bad.
Eddie, you mentioned the underhook. There's a point, though, with Mark Priest on commentary where he actually counts a 2 count before the actual referee gets down.
Is this coin reffing?
I don't remember. Across this episode, we're gonna see 3 different referees.
Yeah, Coin was very made to look incompetent in a lot of these matches.
He was, yes.
Poor guy if he's listening. Hello, but yeah, you were made to look like fucking shit here, pal.
I'll just say he was always very nice to me. So Ash, basically Ash gets his ass kicked. Jorge puts on a sharpshooter and grabs Alex's hands for extra leverage over the ropes. But surely that's letting up on the pressure and you want to be pushed backwards to bend their back more. Ash hits a desperation Liger bomb, gets the tag. Alex runs to the ref to get held back while the Breed hit, yes, one of the worst double teams we've ever seen with that Rolling Thunder thing. I thought they were then going to head into the comeback and take it home, but Jorge just carries on beating up Curve. Eventually, there's another Breed tag. They set up for what we now know as the street sweeper. But Jorge shoves Curve off the top into the railings, allowing Alex to Frankenstein at Ash. The ref is dealing with Jorge kicking the shit out of Curve on the floor. Ash rolls out the ring, and a third man with long black hair dressed in Breed gear runs in, hits Alex with Chris Harris's catatonic, covers his face, and pins Alex to win the title for the Breed. Eddie, your laughter.
This match, again, some good spots, very clunky. Then we get whoever the shitty third member of Demolition was out there to help Newbury by nefarious means. It was like, oh wait, we needed like the third member of Demolition who's just appeared out of nowhere, and I'm like, who the fuck is this guy?
We'll let's not spoil it now. We'll find out more about him later on. But he scarpers and shoves Ash back into the ring, and the Breed look confused as to how they won the belts because neither of them got the pin. I wrote, not good by any stretch, but perhaps the least offensive of the Breed Castano series.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because the Breed were getting beaten up rather than actually trying to do moves. Andy seems to disagree.
I thought during the match that what they call the Breed, New Breed, felt like fully blown baddies at times during the match. So there was inklings there that they were, moving to the dark side, but still shy. Fucking terrible.
I mean, I think, and it comes up in commentary a wee bit in another match of theirs where the commentator's trying to put over that they will cheat, but they will cheat when they have to against the bad guys. And
he describes it as they bend the rules in a cheeky way against bad guys. That's more prevalent. That's not more prevalent. That's more relevant for the other match of theirs we're going to see, I think.
Yeah, with this one, it's like, I don't know. I didn't know who was like, again, I'll be honest, right? When I sit and watch these matches with these four people, I forget their names and who they are. Sometimes I just go New Breed 1 and New Breed 2.
It's because they've got all the same hairdo, isn't it? That's the issue.
And I think at one point the Castanos just seemed very dazed and confused. And again, I think as per usual in these matches, someone gets their head spinned and completely forgets what the fuck they're actually doing. But yeah, this was, as I said, I put some good spots, very, very clunky, but not offensive, I'd say.
After the ad break, we get our second title match of the half hour. Doug Williams defends against Johnny Storm, the FWA heavyweight title. Priest recaps last week where Storm came to the aid of Jody Fleisch, who'd returned from injury and was due to challenge for the title, but was attacked and re-injured by Doug Williams, so gave up his spot to Johnny. There is some time fuckery here that we'll deal with shortly, as in the TV timeline, Storm is the All England champion but doesn't come out with his belt. He is scheduled to defend that belt in, quote, 3 days' time in Germany, which was actually the weekend before this was taped, and he lost. We'll get to that. That's a seed sown. I'm gonna get this out of the way early. I thought this was really good.
Yeah.
This was not quite as good as Fleisch versus Williams from episode 3, I think, which was easily the best match we've seen so far. What they're doing is modern and slick, and they work together really well. There's a beautiful moment in the early going where Doug is pushed off into the ropes and he takes them chest first and rolls backwards into a head scissors that sends Storm out to the floor. Just lovely stuff. Doug, of course, is the heel, so he takes over, mostly targeting the head and neck, as Priest tells us about Guy Thunder picking a fight in a bar to defend a lady's honor, despite trying to recover from an eye injury or whatever it was he was talking about. Doug does the rolling leg whip, and Priest reminds us that we saw Shelby Lynn, actually Shelby Beach, do that a few weeks ago, and he then immediately shits on her version with, she's an acolyte of Doug Williams. Of course, he does this much better. Johnny uses the ropes to escape an evil lucha submission. Doug, arguing with Linsky, gives him the time to recover, and he hits the Super Rewind Hurricane Rana, which was the move that won him the All England title.
It's impressive, that move, isn't it? Impressive.
Like we said before, when he gets it right, it's really nice.
Yeah.
It's something I kind of want Vikingo to steal. Doug, however, is bigger than Scotty Rock, and Johnny can't lean back far enough to hook the legs for the pin, so it only gets him a 2 count. He comes off the top with what I think is supposed to be a diving Rana, but Doug collapses on contact, so it's just a flying dick to the face off the top rope.
I put flying cock as well.
I put when the spot fails, do it again. So powerbomb comes and so powerbomb's quite good.
Maybe I don't know. It didn't look too bad. They probably could have edited it together with the second go round to make it look slicker. And honestly, I think there was a couple of times when I was making the show, the next series of the show, that I would do that with some moves. But it was fine. I wrote, it doesn't get the pin, but it might have got a submission if he'd held long enough. Second time round, Doug Liger bombs in for a near fall. Storm escapes from a press slam, gets 2 counts off an O'Connor roll and a super kick, but Doug gets a foot up on a corner charge. They do a complex series of corner run counters, and he hits the Revolution DDT, the move that won him the heavyweight title. But at this time, like, he's tired and he's slow to cover, so Storm kicks out. I then thought Williams was going for his bomb scare knee drop off the top rope. Nope. He was going to miss a leg drop and smash his ass into the ring from the top rope.
A tiny nitpicky thing which I found was quite funny was Johnny gets scoop slammed to the mat, and the first thing he does is he starts banging the mat at the side to get the crowd going. I was like, what? Took me out a little bit, but I liked it. My little nitpick is after this missed leg drop, Johnny drops Doug Williams with a clothesline, and somebody the size of Johnny Storm should not be dropping someone the size of Doug Williams with a standing clothesline. He just about hits a moonsault for another near fall. He goes up for a second one, but Doug has moved, so Johnny lands on his feet. Williams grabs him from behind, runs him into the buckle. Chaos Theory, 1, 2, 3. The first win with the Chaos Theory for Doug on FWATV. I think like Jody has more interesting offense and a dynamism that Johnny Storm sometimes lacks. And Johnny, as you kind of pointed out, Eddie, has a bit of like extra holiday camp cheese factor to him. All-star. I said it one of the first things I put up when I was saying this. Johnny Storm, obviously there was a funny line from Mark Priest as well, where he was the cavalry, Doug Williams is the Indians, obviously talking about the same inflation. I've put it, Johnny's act is proper babyface apparel, using all the all-star-like ways to get the crowd going. He's even shouting his own name to get people to chant his own name and stuff like that. Don't forget, if he's working 15 dates a month, 14 of those are not going to be FWA, are not going to be TV. They're going to be All-Star and other little piddly promotions around the country. I thought it worked here for sure. And I think that's also still sort of a product of the time as well. Like in 2023, somebody with the same amount of experience will have seen and experienced more TV wrestling, I think, and be able to conduct themselves better for being on TV. I thought the flying knob and him somehow still having this effective clothesline took it down a bit, but 3.5, best match on the show in weeks. I've gone 3.5 out of 5 on it as well. But it was interesting because we chatted on a previous episode about how the Revolution DDT was like Doug's finisher, and it didn't work, so he had to use the secondary finisher, what didn't work in the past, to win the match, which I thought was a very good thing. I enjoyed at the start, when there was like a bit of a standoff, with
like arm
Mm.
drags and what have you. I thought that was a nice little bit at the start, and just being around 10 minutes long.
Yeah, like just your perfect TV main event.
Yeah.
Absolutely fine. Good stuff.
Yep.
I didn't take note of them all, but Priest runs down a load of currently unanswered questions in the company, which helpfully reminds you of storylines that didn't get airtime this week and provide some intrigue going forward. And I have a theory for why that is.
There was one about Guy Funt. There was one definitely about the Scott Parker and Angel.
Angel.
So I remember that one. But I can't remember the rest.
There was Jody's arm. There was tag titles. There was all kinds of stuff he talked about. Episode 14, taped September the 1st, 2001, aired January the 21st, 2002.
Bloody hell.
We're in the new.
Yeah. So we are now 4 months behind.
Jeez.
And I think they knew this going in, and that's why they end episode 13 with a solid match and a successful title defense, and Priest runs down all of the questions to keep you hooked and hoping like next week will be the next episode or what have you.
That makes sense.
Whereas in actual fact, they're off air for 3 months.
So they probably ended on that big matchup in case, right? If it don't return, we've ended it on a good note.
And if it doesn't return, maybe you'll want to buy tickets to go and see the FWA, see how these storylines resolve themselves.
Yeah.
I've also noticed ads for upcoming shows are not appearing in the ad breaks anymore. They still advertise the music CD, but do you remember the first few episodes we got like the upcoming
Blue Meanie,
who then didn't turn up? Yeah. Please welcome to the Frontier Wrestling Alliance, the completely nondescript Brandon Thomas.
Was he part of the family?
Yes. We will get to that when it comes up in a couple of years.
He looks like the dad of Connor Mills. I mean, Connor Mills first started it.
I wrote another slim white man with long dark hair and a black top, looking like he's just run away from a bunch of kids who kept calling him Nick Jackson.
In later bits, I went a very badly cosplayed Connor Mills as Matt Hardy at some point as well. Yeah. I don't know, maybe it was the long hair that just made me kind of stick to this is Connor Mills.
We cut to fan cam while we await his opponent, and its view is blocked by a body, and then it's forcibly tilted up to reveal the face of UWA alumnus number 16, the Highlander from Hell, Drew McDonald.
Oh my God!
Scotland forever.
Am I still allowed to do my UWA Drew McDonald impression now we have an actual Scotsman on the show?
I think you can do, Kieran, because it was a cracking impression, and I'll tell you what, Drew McDonald is one of the scariest voices. You know, he's like his voice, you know, similar to like Crime Watch, Don't Have Nightmares, or Drew will fall up in your sleep.
I don't know if he ever did, but he should have done voice acting. Like, he's got a terrifying voice.
Oh, it's proper gravel. It's proper gravel Scottish. It's very menacing. I've only worked with him or met him once, and he had that type of voice. And my God, he's It's as soon as I saw, I was like, holy fuck. We're getting finally to some more Scottish here. Thank God for this.
I encountered him a few times in the FWA, and he was always perfectly nice until he turned the character on, and then you got this. He cuts a promo threatening the company and specifically Scott Parker. He says he's going to drag Parker's naked, broken, screaming body to the very depths of hell where your Nazarene God cannot save you. Fucking hell. Run away. Everybody run away.
Someone's been watching the Disney movie Brave.
This was great. Like, this was a really creative way to introduce a new character and an inventive use of the fan cam, which we've seen since episode 1. He leaves. Alex Shane's music starts, and we cut to the opening titles, which have changed.
I know.
The horrible red filter is still there, but there's now clips of stuff that we have already talked about, including stuff from the previous episodes. So I guess that's what they were doing for the 3 months while they were off TV.
John Division intro is back again, and obviously we're about to get into the wouldn't be perfect kind of. It's kind of like you know what's going to happen in the next thing because it's Alex Shane's. You know what you're getting. You know what's going to happen.
See,
you know it's a formula that works. Pre-match promo, match begins.
I thought that everything we're about to see felt a lot different from everything we've seen before, even though the previous episode was taped on the same night as the next two. Like, something has changed.
Yeah.
So, Alex Shane comes out. We get Brandon Thomas versus Alex Shane, and Shane's trying to be the Rock. He's speaking too fast over an echoey microphone. I was going to make a joke about Eddie being here as our official Drew McDonald interpreter, but I think we need a show stealer translator because I got maybe half of this.
I got one cracking line here, Kieran.
I think I know which line you've got. So
yes, on Alex Shane Bingo this week, have you got "Stop your grinning and drop your linen"?
My line is the handfuls of fans. Which I thought was cracking. He was very much in his like, take a piss out of the show. You know, there's not many people out there because obviously they've filmed this late. And people have decided.
So
to go
it was kind of mentioned on commentary. The story kind of is he is attributing the low attendance to him not being announced as having a match on the show.
Why is he doing AEW storylines? We're only in 2001/2. We still got a good couple of years before someone starts that.
I thought the concept of this was quite clever. Shane squashes Thomas while also cutting a promo. The problem is you can't hear most of the promo. And if Shane is still supposed to be a full-throated heel, it's flawed because people are entertained by it and laughing. And he has to keep insulting them and calling them ugly to get them to boo. The only wrestling note I have is he pins Thomas with the one-night stand.
Yeah, I've got he hits the choke bomb, the one-night stand is just a piss take. Brandon does a great dive onto the goons.
Yeah,
he does. Yes, Alex steps out of the way and the security men get flattened by a top rope dive, don't they?
But I think he didn't he try it beforehand, Thomas, and Shane just moved out of the way and just fucking bounced him in the face.
There was it was like when he was cutting the promo to the people in the front, and then he just turns around and he sees him and he just elbows him or like hits him with a big boot or something. And it's just like, it's gonna sound really weird and it may not make any sense, but I feel like the Cody verse is kind of like the Alex Shane verse at the moment because he's in his own bubble.
Yeah.
Yes, there are people that kind of, come around. He was in a brief moment involved with Doug Williams and the belt, but really now it's just like he takes an entire bit of his own story while everything else happens, but you're still cultivated by him because I don't know what it is, but there's some charisma there that just kind of hooks you in a little bit.
He is like Poochie, isn't he? Like even if Poochie's not there, you've got to talk about Poochie.
I did notice that when they played the ad for the music CD, it was now his music playing under the voiceover rather than the generic FWA theme.
Slowly but surely taking over this company.
Oh, yes. Match number 2 already. Jack Xavier versus Mark Sloan. Xavier has started morphing into the Funky Chunky Monkey with his shirt he apparently nicked from Jeff Ogden's wardrobe from 2001. He's distracted by James Ty as he makes his entrance, allowing Sloan to clothesline him on the floor. Jack gets beaten up in the ring. Ty does some dirty deeds when Xavier is thrown out of the ring. The crowd start chanting Sloan's a monkey, and he responds, "Monkey this!" and just boots Xavier in the ribs. Xavier randomly kips up after getting in no offense, and instead of going on a tear, they slow down to nothing, and then he just gets kicked in the stomach and beaten up again.
They try some awful pin, which is like a roly-poly bit one, and then they just both kip up, and it's like they're trying to do like they've watched the most recent tape of Ring of Honor or some kind of.
I will again remind you, Ring of Honor does not exist on September the 1st, 2001.
We're still got time.
I will say with these two, it's a proper PE kit derby, isn't it?
Oh,
fucking hell.
They are not dressed well.
Jack Xavier has basically come as a cosplay Spike Dudley Mikey Whipwreck, right? This is what he's going for.
Yeah. Priest makes some spinal tap jokes as Xavier just gets, I did quite like this, he gets walloped right in the face with a TNA kick in the corner.
Yes, absolutely nails him.
He then does the Ric Flair tip over the corner, and as he walks along the apron, Sloan hits him with a flying kick that just rockets him up the aisle. For a high school gym in front of 300 people, this looked crazy.
Yeah.
I think I didn't mention it. I think I didn't mention it, but there was I may have been before. There's a shot, and I don't know whether it's in another match or something that I may have missed. The entranceway. There's the camera, the hard cam.
The hard
when they
cam's
do
over
the
the entrance,
and they show someone down on that coming. I love that. That was a great shot.
Eddie, it was I think the Doug Williams match when Doug made his entrance. It looked so. I know it's in Harrow High School, but fucking looked big time that where it went over.
They've set up the cameras really well to film a horrible looking building. Is the problem?
Yeah, I mean,
like all of the lights in the ceiling are on. There's no lighting rig or anything. It's the setup doesn't look big time, but they've put the cameras in good positions to film it.
It's like the gym at a primary school or a high school with like a trophy cabinet and kind of where you would normally keep everything at the side of it. And we'll get into that in the match coming next.
Yes,
but there's just like going back to this is just this match. I just didn't get any of it. I was like trying to get understanding, going, okay, so they're doing this, they're making attempts, they're doing all right. Don't get me started on the finish, which we'll come to in a minute. There's some
how about the delayed monkey suplex?
Oh, the monkey chants. I was like, oh Christ, here we go. Right, okay.
Sloan sort of hits a handspring elbow and then misses a second one, and Xavier finally hits his first offensive move, which is the sky high / elbow drop thing we saw last time out. Here comes Eddie's favorite bit. Ty distracts the ref. Jack clobbers him. He manages to maneuver Sloan into a corner and climbs up to do the mounted 10 punches. Ty goes under the ring, throws powder in Xavier's eyes. Sloan power bombs him out the corner and rolls him up, while Ty applies additional pressure from the outside for the pin. It's messy.
His feet are on the fucking ropes.
Yeah, his feet are on the ropes, and there's a bloke leaning in from the outside, and his eyes are full of fucking sugar or flour or whatever they bought in Tesco.
Andrew Coyne, if this was a football match, you'd be relegated to non-league for the performance you've given here, son.
Eddie, basically, to coin a phrase, he was shit.
Shit. Absolutely fucking god-awful.
I'll tell you what else was shit. The rest of the match.
Yeah.
Xavier looked really stupid. His only offense was the sky high and the corner punches. Sloan kicked the shit out of him for 5 full minutes and then just pinned him with his friend's help.
Xavier tries to attack James Ty when he gets up to the ropes, and I don't even think he punches him. I think Ty just falls off himself and takes a bump and just goes, right, well, you fucking hit me now, so I can't really do nothing, so bounce down. So I need to get the powder. But just like, fuck me. Like, I mean, I've seen better matches, and I like Sloan because I've had experience with him outside of this, and I think Jack Xavier's okay. I've not really got a massive opinion on him just yet, but it was just bad. I got really annoyed.
Xavier's still very early in his career, and honestly, Sloan hasn't been wrestling that long either, and is still quite young at this point. Like until Scarlett and Drew McDonald turn up, I think Flash Barker's the oldest person in this company, and he's something like 33.
Bloody hell.
Yeah,
the ages of these people. There's some of them that like.
Yeah, we need a little Matty Edwards box in the corner as he yells at everybody's age as we say their names.
We're going to talk about age in the next match, or at least I'm going to talk about age in the next match, because I'm pretty sure someone is not the age that they're trying to put them over as. But like, fucking hell.
Andy, do you have any further opinions on Mark Sloan versus Jack Xavier?
2 greasy moshers having a bad match. There you go.
Fair. Ad break. And then Dino Scarlo versus Ian Da Silva.
Oh, yes.
I suspect you put a message in our group chat about a match you were looking forward to talking about, and I suspected it might be this one. So Mark Priest fills us in on Dino Scarlo's history. He's the son of Tony Scarlo, wrestler and later referee, feuded with Jackie Pallo. He had some matches on World of Sport. In fact, one of our deep throats, one of our insiders said to me, if you look at posters from the late 70s, they often had Tony Scarlo versus Peter Kelly on the bill, and then Dino Scarlo versus Steve Kelly, their sons, on the same bill. Sometimes they combined for a tag match, but it was usually 2 singles matches. And because Dino and Steve were the young dynamic ones, theirs was the match that was put on TV. If you go onto John Lister's YouTube channel, I do believe there is at least one Dino Scarlo World of Sport match on there.
Oh.
He's very different to this Dino Scarlo. He ran a market stall in Walthamstow. The on and off screen characters were not too dissimilar. That is all I am prepared to say because I like my kneecaps.
Get collected.
Ian De Silva is greener than a lime jelly bean. He has no clue what he's doing, and Dino just beats the fuck out of him.
Ian De Silva is debuting against Dino Scarlo, who has O Fortuna as his music, and he turns up like he's in the cross of a gangster movie and a dart/snooker player.
Yeah.
He may have the best debut I've seen. He looks like Wayne Mardle in a gangster movie.
I can't speak.
That bit when he's wearing the Hawaiian shirt saying, come on! And it's like, that looks like Dino Scarlo to me. Also, how old is Ian De Silva? Where's his passport? He does not look young. He looks old.
Ian De Silva has always looked a minimum of 40.
Yes.
Ian, brother of Anderson De Silva.
The fucking older brother.
But he would turn out to be, I think he was later Ian Disciple, weren't he?
In the family, yes.
Yes.
Yes. So we've had the debut of 2 members of the family.
Right.
The other 3 are already in the company. Oh, well, there's one more to come. But 3 of the others are already in the company. They just don't form for another year or so yet.
He loves to headbutt Dino and he loves to bite. And then I've put, did Ian De Silva shag his wife? Because that's the way this.
He is beating him up like a man he has found in the wardrobe of his own bedroom, yes. Apparently, De Silva was part of a tag team with Jack Xavier in the Midlands called XTC. I was stunned when I was told because he wrestles like he's never seen a ring before. Apparently, he's a good kickboxer, though.
I know, and he's probably had a load of ecstasy.
He, along with Brandon Thomas, are from Kev O'Neill's promotion in the Midlands, what was nominally FWA Midlands until it all got merged into one thing for TV.
Right.
I think this might have been an I Quit match and they just forgot to tell us.
Oof.
Because instead of counting when Scarlo has De Silva in the ropes, Linsky asked De Silva if he wants to quit. He doesn't count when Ian is on the outside. And gentlemen, please tell me, how many covers did you see in this match?
No.
I don't think I saw any.
No.
I mean, why? I kept thinking this was like a squash match, so I kept thinking, why is Ian getting any offense here? He makes the take a springboard back elbow, and I was like, what is this?
Oh, that's what you called it. Do you mean the thing that Yoshihiro Tajiri has never done that badly in his life?
Oh, but they're like, the moonsault wasn't even the best, and I'm pretty sure Dino was supposed to put his knees up there.
I wrote, the commentary is covering for him, but I'm not sure if Ian hit or missed that moonsault.
It was sort of light on the legs, weren't it? He hit the moonsault. And
it was basically his foot came down on Dino's arm, and that's what they sold. And Priest is going, some might say he missed that, but I know Ian De Silva, and that was a targeted attack. Fuck off. If your idea of a targeted attack is a full backflip off the top rope just so you can kick your opponent in the arm, you're a bad wrestler.
Yeah.
I think we need to talk about the most exciting bits, which was every spot that involved the chair, because every single one of the spots where the chairs were weak, bar one, where Dino just lifts the chair and clips Ian on the back of his fucking head.
Well, there was the weird running, sliding chair shot lariat thing that knocked Ian down in the corner, and then he gets his head repeatedly smashed into the seat. And I didn't see a blade. When he comes up, he's gushing blood. Like, I think he got busted hard way.
The crowd are chanting for Dino as well, by the way, even though I don't know whether he's the heel or the face in this. So
I don't know if you felt here, lads, about Steve Linsky, who we beat up every time about his refereeing, but
he deserves it.
He just felt very lenient again.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. I think, and I did try to find out. I did ask Deep Throat A if this was announced as "I quit" in the building or no DQ in the building, but they don't tell us on TV that it is.
yeah,
It's just a mugging with no pinfalls. And then, as we'll get to, no fucking finish either.
Yeah, there's a moment where I keep saying, has Linsky called for the bell? Surely this is a DQ when obviously he's using the chair.
Yeah.
And then, I just kept thinking about, again, I saw rage when I saw Steve Linsky, like, people who may live in Blackburn may see rage at Steve Linsky allegedly, but,
he's going to get that in every episode.
But yeah, and then Ian is busted wide open. Blood, baby. What the fuck is this supposed to be?
Yep. Dino then goes for a pointless jump off the middle rope, and Ian throws the chair into his face, cutting him open as well.
First as well.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Like, Dino, I think Dino looks like your old man or your uncle pissed from a night out who's just trying to fight. But this crowd is entirely silent throughout this
because they've never seen either of these people before. It's two men they've never seen throwing a chair at each other. De Silva makes something of a comeback, sending Scarlo off to the floor, where Scarlo threatens to do something horrible to a cameraman's camera.
Oh, it was the FWA fan cam, exactly. He was going to put it up someone's rectum.
Yes, he says, get it out of my face and I'll stick up the rectum.
And then pull it back out with dinner attached. Yes.
Yeah.
De Silva gets thrown into the corner full of trainees, including future FWA commentator and referee in 2 episodes' time, Tony Giles, and then leaps off the top rope onto all of them.
Kieran, 2 of these fans actually got named as Wolf, Wolfman and Captain Donut.
Yes, I am told those names did not stick when they became wrestlers. De Silva dodges a cannonball, sending Scarlo into a chair that slides him into a trophy cabinet, breaking the glass and sending that flying everywhere. An unseen voice, possibly LSR Cabrera's, comes over the mic to say this has got out of control and Dino needs to go. Some baby faces come out. Dino takes a cricket bat out of the cabinet, kicks some chairs around and leaves.
The baby faces are just Hade Vanson and Brandon Thomas, who we
there are some more as well. Like they gather. Yeah. Oh yeah, Hade Vanson, who was previously a referee, is now a wrestler apparently.
Hade Vanson and Brandon Thomas are the only ones to get shout outs from Mark Priest as and I was like, what the fuck is going on here? As the deep voice from above says, get out of my show.
There were no DQs, no countouts, no pins. I think we've just seen a veteran versus a rookie in an unbilled I Quit match that went to a no contest. This is very WCW.
Dino's music plays as we go to the end of this show, and it's him, O Fortuna, some other music, and then him saying lines like he's some fucking gangster man.
I wrote COD philosophical Guy Ritchie gangster bollocks, and it sounds like he's doing it over the phone. Dino is an anagram of no ID. Why did they not just have Scarlo kill De Silva?
Yeah.
Why did Ian De Silva get anything? Like, Ian De Silva should have got as much offense as Jack Xavier did in the Mark Sloan match.
Yeah.
This took over 10 minutes, all of this shit.
If I'm watching this as someone who has no idea what's going on, if I've only watched the opening of this show to find out who Dino Scarlo is, and I'm now watching him beat the ever-loving piss out of a guy called Ian De Silva, I again will go back to my original comment. I think that Ian De Silva has shagged his wife, because the way that he has been battered here is the only way that I could think of this. And the fact that, the referee has fucking does fuck all, but then again, that's Steve Linsky, so we're not surprised by that at a certain point. And the fact this is the first time the show has ended on a somber end where I've kind of just finished it and went, what the fuck did I just watch for the last 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, the matches were rubbish. This is our first 3-match episode. It was all squash heavy. The matches weren't good, and the best thing was Drew's arrival. but we've introduced 2 important new heels.
I would definitely say that. My just ever-riding like feelings on that match. It's an advert for CTE, and
Yes.
and I think I put to you two, it's probably one of the oddest matches I've seen, and maybe one of the worst matches I've seen. But you couldn't take. It was a car crash right in front of your eyes.
Dino was
Amazing.
described to me as old school in the way that he would think of spots, not call them, and just expect you to know what he was going for.
Right. Well, it's compelling though, isn't it?
Kind of, yeah, but it's very weird.
That match, it was just like, I'd like to see where this is going with him. You know, we will get into that in the next couple of episodes, but fucking hell, it's a proper, 360 with storyline.
And I'm obviously listening. It'll come somewhere, and I'll be interested to see where it kind of goes. But yeah, when I'm just sitting watching this, I'm thinking, like, is it the worst match I've ever seen? Probably. I don't even think I would call it a match. I would think I'd just call it someone getting the shit kicked out of them.
Yeah.
And me just having to watch it, and you think, okay, I get it. If you're trying to establish him as a tough guy and a jippo fighter and whatever you're trying to do, then fine. But there should be some form of finish. We should know how this is going to end.
He should have at least. If you could do all of this, he should have at least one.
Yeah, and then the thing is like, because obviously the ending of it, they're doing the whole like, oh, get out of here, you're blah 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 blah, and it's like, okay, we don't see it, but yeah, I don't know, I didn't enjoy it.
I think they're trying to establish him as unpredictable and dangerous. I think if they could find a way to protect him doing it, De Silva should have been the one that went into the cabinet, and that's when officials say this has got out of hand, call it off. Dino, you won, go away. Yeah. So, episode 15, taped September the 1st, 2001, airs January the 28th, 2002.
Jeez.
A mystery German wrestler appears in Stephanie McDemonfort's office. He Germans at her. She tells him he smells and needs to go and make the match about to start a 3-way, and then shoos him away auf Deutsch. This is Ahmed Chair. Deep Throat number 1 said, I wrote the dialogue for Ahmed in English, translated it using Babelfish. Remember, these are the pre-Google Translate days. And when it was handed to him, he went, this is nonsense. So the match about to start is now Scotty Rock versus Paul Travell versus Ahmed Chair for Ahmed's FWA All England title.
It's from the GWF, which is still going now.
Yes. So,
although if it's still going in that lighting the way that it was in that flashback, then I don't know how the fuck you see a thing that's going on there.
Let's try and clear all this up. Chair is the champ, having beaten Johnny Storm in a winner-take-all 3-way in WXW on August the 26th. In which his ACW International title and, get this for a name, Crazy Sexy Mike's WXW High Flying Trophy were also on the line. This was not just 10 days ago, as Priest would have it. I am told that Chair and Mike still wrestle occasionally, but they are the promoters, as we said, of GWF, German Wrestling Federation, in Berlin these days. They cut to clips of that 3-way match that looks so bad they had to put the fan cam overlay on it. This was, about German expressionist cinema. This was German expressionist pro wrestling. Like it was just so stark. It was literally black and white.
I'd love to know what venue it was, because it might have been the venue that Wrestling Deutschland ran on one of those carrot weekends. It's like a bloody old nightclub. And it looked dark as shit in there. Don't know if you went there, Eddie, did you?
No, I've never been. It was an arena called Roxy in Essen.
Oh.
I've also realised that Crazy Sexy Mike, and his real name is
Dave.
He's basically Ahmed Chair's brother, I think.
Is he? Oh.
Mike Chair and Ahmed Chair.
Crazy Sexy Chair.
Who's the third brother? Pull upper.
His alter egos are Hussein, Mike Chair, and White Ninja. So there you go.
Alrighty.
But yeah, it's so dark. Couldn't see a fucking thing.
Oh, it was horrible. It was horrible. Thankfully, it was only on our screen for 10 seconds. Travell here is the lone babyface, so he finds himself double teamed quite a bit. And I noted that Ahmed Chair looks and moves like a clean Mark Sloan. He's got the same haircut, the same size and body shape, and he moves around the ring the same way Mark Sloan does.
Scotty Rock is fighting Paul Travell, and Ahmed Sher is arguing with the referee. And I'm kind of trying and distracting the ref, and I'm kind of confused why, because obviously it's a triple threat. And then Mark Priest says, 3 men in a ring usually means one more than normal. An extra man means trouble, but it also means excitement. There are 3 men in every match because you include the referee, Mark Priest. So
also, Mark Priest has never seen a tag match or the 6-man tag they had on episode 4.
Or the trio freeway tag match.
Oh, yeah, that as well. Rock grazes the other two with a flip tope, suplexes Ahmed on the floor, and gets crushed by a Travell top rope drive. Scott, back in the ring, Scotty very loudly calls for his wheelbarrow bulldog, but Chair blocks it, and Travell flies over the top of them with his sunset flip, causing Chair to German suplex Rock. The pin is a mess, but everybody kicks out. We will see this move done much better in a few months on this show. Travell goes on a run of offense, but gets powerbombed out of a Rana on Chair. Rock Rana's Chair off the top rope. Travell hits his bloodshot splash, T-bones Rock onto Chair, and pins Ahmed Chair to win the title. Fine enough. Nothing special. I did like how strong Travell looked in the finishing sequence. Like, he was on a tear of moves. With only one hitch that he came back from, and then hit more of his big moves and wiped. It wasn't a pin steal. He wiped out both of his opponents with purpose to get the win.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good triple threat match. Yeah,
I think myself 10-minute match of moves.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need that as an opener.
Yeah.
As we have discussed, though, at this time, FWA was the moves promotion of the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a great shot where Scotty Rock is just outside kneeling at the timekeeper, and the timekeeper just looks at him and then just looks at his watch and looks at the bell. And I was just like, just doesn't give a fuck, does he, this timekeeper, man?
I did notice that Scotty Rock was channeling Masato Yoshino wearing tights and a singlet with the straps pulled down, rather than previously channeling Just Incredible in the jorts with the high-tech magnums.
The amount of influence that ECW has on these people and their gear is very interesting and very
ECW is the cool thing that everybody was still watching and getting over. Like, I don't know, I cannot remember when the tapes came out here. I think it would have been roughly about this time, as the company was ironically closing, that the VHSs were starting to come out in the UK. Like, you could go into HMV when that still existed and just buy ECW off the shelf.
Yeah.
So we get a recap of Vicky Demon Fort getting a heavy breather and calling Mr. Scarlo for help. The graphic says 3 weeks ago, but in real time, it's almost 5 months. There's also Dino's arrival 2 episodes ago and him killing Ian De Silva last week. Back to real time, and Vicky gets another call, and a wildly unnecessary zoom right into her face. She hangs up, and we pull out to reveal that Dino Scarlo is also in the room. He convinces her to go and have a holiday and let him take over to make whoever think this is, that he is now running the company. He says if they try and put the threateners on him, he can deal directly and flush them out. She should trust him. He's done this before.
He's behind it. I went in my Sherlock Holmes. I think the fucker's behind it.
Of course.
I was thinking myself that the stalker's voice is probably Drew McDonald.
Do you think you'd identify it immediately?
Yeah.
Yeah, you hear the Scottish bit and you go, what the fuck are you phoning me for?
Victoria. Hello, Drew. How can I help? Would you like a booking? Aye, thank you. Speaking of which, more egg-shaped than ever, Drew McDonald is in the ring. He will face Scott Parker after the break. We get an echoey dressing. We've lost Andy. This happens every month.
There's gonna be more now that Drew's on here. Goodness me,
I feel really bad about doing this with Eddie on the show as well.
It's okay. I'm completely fine.
There's a line here from Matt Priest. Drew has crippled more men than polio.
Yeah.
Yes.
We
We
then
get
he
an
goes on
echoey...
about some poor fella in the 80s, but we don't talk about him.
Yeah. Before that, though, we get an echoey dressing room promo with Parker saying he accepts Drew's challenge for a Falls Count Anywhere match, and he'll give him the 24-carat beating he deserves. Eddie, you like the Here Comes the Pain loading screen for the ad break. We got a new one here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's someone clearly likes their video games at this point. Like SmackDown 2, the loading screens is great.
Yep.
Also, can we talk about the fact that this is another guy coming in to destroy the company as far as Dino is concerned? Because you've got the champion being a guy who's trying to destroy the company from within.
Yeah.
Now you've got Drew doing it. Also, Dino, a man who last week we heard on the microphone was told to be too much for the company, is now in charge of the company.
Yes.
Just, baffling stuff.
The voice over the microphone say, I don't... it's something along the lines of I don't agree with Victoria de Montfort's. I don't know what Victoria de Montfort was thinking bringing you in.
Yeah, something. Like that.
Yeah. As you mentioned, like Priest bigs up Drew, making him sound fearsome. He claims Drew and Giant Haystacks formed a formidable Scottish partnership, which would be quite difficult because Haystacks was genetically Irish, born in London, and lived all bar the first 3 years of his life in Salford. Priest is concerned.
You're telling me he's not Scottish?
Yeah, strangely enough.
Wow, this changes everything.
Have you not heard his promo with Mean Gene on WCW Nitro?
No, I'll need to give this a watch.
That weasel Jimmy Hart. Mark Priest is concerned that the FWA has made two big mistakes back to back by allowing Dino Scarlo in through the back door and Drew in through the front. Drew is not fast or dynamic, but he's not afraid to take bumps for Parker, including a full-on tope in the aisle.
Proper Undertaker dive.
Yeah. You see so many wimpy catches on dives these days, like people afraid to get hit, or like a tope, it will just be like the fingertips will hit. No. Drew takes all of this cruise missile.
I also like when he goes for the dive that Scott Parker immediately goes for the pin, even though I'm pretty sure the ref has to take time to get out of the ring to then count.
It's Linsky. He takes his time to do anything apart from
with that.
Go to the buffet.
It's Falls Count Anywhere, this match.
Yes.
But
yes.
Linsky, about a minute in, he's actually counting them out like it's a bloody counter.
Yeah.
Even though they stood up.
Yeah. Refereeing, never a strong point of the Frontier Wrestling Alliance or Steve Linsky. Drew takes over on Scott's previously injured ribs, lamenting the state of the young competition in the FWA. Parker tries a drop kick, but McDonald swats it away into a sit-out powerbomb and brings a table into the ring. And by table, I mean a sheet of MDF with two sets of table legs screwed into it too close together.
This looked like something that was clearly made by like the workers.
Yeah.
Also, did anyone see the moment where the fan cam focused on the crowd and the fans who just could not be arsed watching this?
Yes. So you can hear the fans making noise, and Priest is going, the fans are loving this match, but all the fans you can see are sitting on their hands.
They're just like,
yeah. That works really well in audio, Eddie. Well done. And so does you flipping me the double turn.
Yeah, I know.
Stone Cold Eddie Sideburns. When I was with the FWA, the way they did tables was they just had two sets of legs and they went and bought a sheet of wood to screw them into. Those legs would then end up in IPW. And I saw a match that had two table bumps in it where they smashed through the first one. People scurried out from backstage and took the legs backstage and hurriedly screwed them into another sheet of plywood for the wrestlers to go and collect to finish off the street fight match.
Cheap bastards.
Drew. Wrestlers. Drew just no-sells a kind of Scott Parker flurry of attack here.
Yeah.
And the drop kick that then turns into a powerbomb just looks very weak. Like, Drew, obviously I get it, Drew is supposed to be like this big bad baddie and stuff like that, but the no-selling is pretty much like John Cena-esque here.
Drew drapes the top half of Parker over the end of the table and goes up to the top rope. He takes too long. Parker pops up, slams him off the top through the table and gets the pin. Drew immediately pops up, beats up Parker and Linsky. Scarlo comes out with his cricket bat. He flings half a table at Linsky, nearly hitting the front row. It's only that there's a barrier that stops it, like smacking into two fans. And then he joins in the assault on Parker, including a shot to the head with Parker's head against the barrier, and then he breaks the bat on him.
Honestly, with this shot, Kieran, I was like, oh, fucking hell.
There is no way that Scott Parker knew that was coming.
No. It proper just fucking walled him, didn't it?
It looked evil.
Oh, my word.
Drew tombstones Parker and growls into a microphone. The only part I could understand was that the FWA's nightmare has only just begun.
There is, and you can still see the cut on Dino's head, obviously, from the, which is quite good. There's a moment where they just pose with their hands on their hips, and it's just like, oh wow, you're totally badass guys here. There's also a pretty bad comment that I'm not going to mention from our commentary here that kind of threw me for a loop and was like,
he does use some language that would not be used on commentary today. Let's just say that. But he fears for the safety of the Frontier Wrestling Alliance.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, not that far.
So this is the second episode in a row that ends with the heel standing tall. But we are revealing a plot that is forming in the FWA.
It's fascinating, isn't it, Kieran? The end of this show. It's just like, bloody yeah. My last line was, oh, it's the old school, new school. So
that's what we're getting. That's what's starting to form. Yes. Match shit. Not good.
No.
I mean, you should not be expecting anything good out of Drew McDonald at this stage. Like, he was just about holding it together in the UWA, and that was 2 years before this.
I think at end of the day with Drew McDonald, it's his presence that carries him through.
Yes, I think so too.
Yeah,
as a character, as a kind of story, it works. He works like that. But I think just he's been wrestling for quite a long time now at this point.
Yeah.
You know, it's at that point where it's kind of like ease in yourself and do something else rather than kind of still be a part of wrestling, obviously, but
yeah. I mean,
change up.
For some people, wrestling is all they know, you know? Yeah. Maybe he didn't want to be a manager. Maybe, like, at his size, they thought he was too big to be a manager, too intimidating looking to be a manager.
Yeah.
He does. I mean, this is fast forwarding into the future. He does become the leader of the family, but his health is bad then, and he shows up very sporadically, which does lead to the great gimmick of Greg Lambert carrying around a holy photo of Drew McDonald, so his presence is always with them. But yeah, his and by that time, like, we've gone through British Uprising, where his match with Robbie Brookside was shit on. He's basically become a joke to a lot of the FWA fans by the time you get to that. He's not intimidating anymore. Like, he's not handled that well, to be honest.
Right.
And I don't know what he had to give at that point either. So, episode 16, taped October the 26th at Trick or Treat in Broxbourne Civic Hall.
Yay, the Mecca.
The debut of Broxbourne Civic Hall aired February the 4th, 2002. Alex Shane is in the ring in a dark and smoky Broxbourne, and people are chanting for him.
Yeah.
We get a recap of Scarlo McDonald's actions last week, and then back to quote-unquote live action as ring announcer Adam South interviews Alex, saying the fans are now looking to Shane as their leader to combat this new threat. We're given a shot of his security detail showing that the members have changed yet again. They're now down to 4, and I think the only recurring 2 are Styx and Mr. Blonde. Shane says he doesn't care about Drew or Dino Scarlo unless they come for him, while trying to get over at least 2 new catchphrases. Out comes our old buddy Schamberg, Guy Thunder, and we go to the opening titles.
Yeah.
Yay.
Nobody takes the name of Shane in vain. I like that one.
That was one of the new catchphrases. The Schamberg bot engages his promo programming and boringly tells Alex that last time it took him, 6 women, 7 security guards, and 1 table to beat him. I'm not sure a babyface should be exaggerating like that.
He looks like he's just finished his shift at the factory as well.
He
the way
looks
the
like
guy
he's come
comes
off.
dressed.
He's just come out of the factory, the Schamberg Bot 2000. He challenges Shane to a last man standing match, which Alex gets a big pop for accepting. And Schamberg says, I don't need your silly catchphrases and your prancing. I just need this ring, my fists, and your face to be the last man standing.
That was a malfunction in his robotic body then.
Oh, fuck. I put too much into that. He is a black hole of charisma. Like, he just looks like a normal bloke. He can't even
Well.
stand convincingly while facing Alex down. It was horrible.
You don't know whether he has the balls or the cojones, and then Alex Shane says that he is going down like the ladies will when they go backstage with him, which again is just, ugh.
Mm-hmm.
He's just some character, this Alex Shane. Also, did we all notice the smoky scenario lighting here?
Yeah.
Oh, the smoke machine is in overdrive.
Bloody hell.
It's like we've broken the smoke machine and they've just kicked it numerous times. Like, well, we just can't fix it.
I think one thing you can notice from this segment of the show is how over Alex Shane is with the crowd.
Yeah. He's getting so what we are not able to get into on this show is because we don't have access to a lot of that stuff is or whatever they were doing on the internet in between shows and whatever they were doing on the TalkSport radio show in between live wrestling shows. So we don't know how he's getting himself over in those media.
On the radio show, he was coming across as like, the goodie, someone.
Yeah, exactly. So he's sort of turning himself. Our first match at Broxbourne Civic Hall is Justin Richards versus Mr. Blonde.
I like him.
Eddie looks very happy about this.
I like Justin Richards. I don't know what it is.
Well, so does Mark Priest. He is Priest's new hero, and he also calls him the old school hero.
Ooh.
It might be dark with the smoke machine going crazy, but Broxbourne is such a massive upgrade on all the previous venues, including the BMP rally at the Pyramid Centre that we watched for 2 episodes. Richard starts by stamping on the hands of the security lads on the apron, and he takes control with a load of fast-paced, good-looking basics that send Blonde heading to the floor. Where Richard's baseball slides him, somehow also knocking down the 2 security guards who have stayed behind as well. Blonde takes over by reversing some chops in the corner, hitting a backdrop, and with the ref looking elsewhere, just a straight-up punch to the dick. Blonde stays on top with his own good-looking offense, including a really nice elbow drop and a drop kick. Like, it's all basic, but it all looks nice.
One of the things as well, like just about Richards, is I like Justin Richards' forearm smashes. Like, I don't know what it was about him, but every time he looks like he's giving them proper welly with.
Oh, yeah.
And he sells a jawbreaker wonderfully. There's a moment where the camera just focuses on him and goes like he's holding his jaw like, argh.
Yeah. He comes back with a leg lariat and a suplex, but gets flattened with a clothesline. Slips out of a suplex, hooks for a dragon suplex, but Blonde just back heels him in the balls and drops him with his iron fist punch. Yes, Eddie is about to complain about the refereeing of one Tony Giles in this match.
Was it Linsky?
I
think this one was Tony Giles.
Tony Giles, right.
Yeah, one of them had an actual restaurant, but it was like it looked. Again, that's a DQ. You call the bell there, pal. What are we doing?
Actually, no. This one is Linsky. The other one is the other match is Tony Giles.
Well, there we go. Typical man can steal a ring in Blackburn, but can notice it.
Blonde drops Richards with the iron fist punch, but picks him up out of the pin at 2. He does the same off a Michinoku driver, and then hits his flash in the pan finisher, which Priest misnames as the Angel's Wings when he means the last rites, and scores the pin. This one will get Eddie, despite breaking body contact after the 1 count to pin with his foot, and then he's leaning on the ropes by the time Linsky's hand hits the mat for 3.
Yeah. Oh, my God, this man annoys me.
I thought this was an okay squash apart from the joke of a final cover.
Yeah. Does he hit is that final move a crossroads? Does it look something?
Yeah, kind of. It's roll the dice crossroads. Yeah.
Mark Priest brings up a good point as well at one point, and again, I'm finding myself surprised that I'm saying
he's
that.
growing on you.
He doesn't get how a closed fist is illegal, but a headbutt is legal. But that's the way Mr. Blonde likes it, which is the way he kind of always says these things.
You got anything, Andy?
I think I'd just put dominant squash. They both look good. Justin Richards looked good last time we saw him, but no,
absolutely fine. Apart from that terrible pinfall at the end, and then Richards is carried out as we go to the break. In the park, in the car park outside Elisar's flat and nowhere near Broxbourne Civic Hall, Curve is getting out of his car when Ash arrives. Curve asks where Ash has been, struggles to say Hawaii, and then asks if that is anywhere near Scunthorpe. Ash says, "Have you not noticed I've been gone for 2 weeks? I've been on holiday." And Curve replies that he's had his eyes shut for a lot of that time, so he hadn't realised. Ash says he's back for tonight's title defence, and Curve has to break the bad news that the guy who helped them last time, and they name him as Cruz, spelt Kruiz, for anybody keeping track, is going to be in the match instead.
That's Cruise.
It is Cruise. See, Ash isn't needed, and Curve takes the title belt off him. Ash looks all dejected and sort of snoopy. Charlie Brown walks away, but Curve calls him back and says, "If you've really got nothing to do, you're welcome to come and stand at ringside. You might make a good valet. You've got the hair for it."
Now, I thought this would be great if this is starting a heel turn with this boy, because he's now wondering that he's left alone, can't do anything, got nothing better to do, and he's taking pity on him by making him the valet. What comes in the match fucking baffled me to no end, and I'm asking myself more questions than I have answers at this point.
So, in the ring, Jody Fleisch, which is still spelt Fleisch on his graphic, and All England champion Paul Travell are apparently the number one contenders to the tag title. How? Jody hasn't wrestled here since he broke his arm on episode 4. Travell is the All England champion, and their only tag together was the 6-man where Jody got injured in the first place. I think Tony Khan has been watching this for booking inspiration.
Did you think here as well, Kieran, with Paul Travell, he didn't feel like a champion? I don't think he had a belt anywhere. In this,
the belt looks so tiny. The belt looks so tiny. He did look small. Well.
He wears baggy trousers. His t-shirt is. He's almost wearing what he would wear as part of the family on this show, rather than, because previously he's been in his hazardous tights.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. He does look small here in baggy clothes, and I can't remember if he had the belt or not.
Yeah, he just didn't come across like, he just won the belt, like well, what would have been 6 months ago. So
yeah,
time is just an illusion in this company.
Speaking of very baggy trousers, Tony Giles and his referee this match, we get a recap of Cruz getting the WCW pin to win Breed the tag belts. Cruz is a Shane trainee from Enfield, and it figures they do this story because Alex Shane fucking loves lookalike angles. This was not the only one they would do in the FWA.
Did he spunk himself over the fucking Bellas at this point then when he saw that?
That was a visual I did not need. Maybe in his copy of Raw magazine, yes. Mark Priest talks about horses on fire as Jody misses a moonsault to allow Curve to do some Rob Van Dam stuff to him. Cruz tags in, Andy shakes his head and sends him backflipping off a clothesline and works over the previously injured arm. The story is that Cruz is rougher in his tactics than the Breed usually would be, and Curve keeps admonishing him for not letting Jody out of the corner and for going after the injured arm specifically. Curve tags in, goes for a powerbomb, but gets fucking spiked on his head with the Rana reversal. He went down like a fence post. Travell's comeback is, I put uncharacteristically messy.
There's a moment where I think he tags him in, and Travell just charges towards Curve. And Cruise isn't even out the ring. He's just standing at the side.
Yes.
And then he just goes, "Well, mate, no, this is not going to happen," and just lariats the shit out of Travell.
Oh, so, right. That's slightly after this. I think Travell, up to this point, has shown he's one of the better workers in the company. He was all over the place here. He was just wildly swinging fists and feet all over the place. And I wonder if the Breed were just out of position. We get that hefty clothesline that Eddie talked about because Travell corner charges Curve and Cruz just steps in and lariats the shit out of him.
He's just there. He's not even been like out of the ring. He's just
he's just standing there. He also flattens Travell again with a really stiff super kick. Travell T-bones Curve and looks like an idiot going for the bloodshot splash off his own corner that Jody is standing in instead of making the tag. With Cruz's help, Curve kills Travell with a middle rope tombstone, and he rolls out of the ring for a moment of concern with Ash, Curve, and the ref. But they roll him back in, where Fleisch breaks up a regular pile driver with a top rope dropkick.
Yep.
With the ref distracted by, I put Christ knows what, fan cam shows us Dino Scarlo hitting ringside and smashing Jody off the top rope with a cricket bat. Curve goes to pin him, but the possibly legal Cruz throws him off and puts an arm lock on the definitely not legal Jody Fleisch for the submission as Curve tries to pull him off. It's UWA tag rules, man. It's like doesn't matter who's legal, just do the finish.
The second rope
tombstone.
The tombstone power driver, man alive, they sold that so well. It's like they
sold it so well for about 15 seconds.
Yeah, but then again, this is the same company where Drew McDonald went for a table and then, came back up. And like, yeah, I don't care. That's not working for me, brother. But yeah, this it was like Curve when the submission, like Curve tries to get Cruz off Fleisch in like the weakest way possible. It's not even like any enthusiasm to try and get him off. It's just like, come on, mate. But yeah, this was not okay. Like, Jody Fleisch was good. The rest of this was middling.
I thought the addition of Perv tagging with Curve was much better than Ash. I think Ash.
Do you think so? I was going to ask that. Like, do we think that on his one showing, Cruz is better than Ash?
Ash had to go. Cruz needed to go. His home planet needed him at this point, or Ash, whichever one. They're all honestly like Cruz, whatever the fuck. They're just names. They were just names.
Yeah.
And then where we went after this, like.
If you would like a fun fact about Cruz, he was in the first match I ever filmed. And he squashed me with a plunger about 5 minutes in because I didn't know it was. I got down too low, didn't know it was coming, and then I had to lay there and sell it because if the wrestlers are going to get hit by these and sell it, what is it going to do to a poor cameraman? Yeah. So afterwards is the important bit. Cruz yells at Curve over the mic, saying he has respect for Fleisch and Travell. Cruz should have just pinned Jody like a sportsman instead of trying to tear his arm off, as that's not how they do things in the new breed. Cruz responds that he thought it was win at all costs, or what's the point? Ash also tells him off and then rounds on Curve, asking what he's playing at, letting this psycho into the team. And Curve responds, at least Cruz is here helping the team win. We can't afford a nice holiday in Hawaii for 2 weeks. I think it's very interesting that Curve's character is completely different here on the microphone in front of a crowd than it was in the car park, allegedly outside 10 minutes ago.
He's proper being Billy Big Bollocks, isn't he?
Yeah.
What was the storyline with the road? Was there a third man in the Road Warriors feud they did in in 2003, where they were like questioning each other or something like this? Because it felt, yeah.
Well, this precedes
like
that.
This
is before that. So Ash says that Cruz needs to learn respect and Curve needs to grow up and take responsibility. Cruz chucks the shitty tag belt at Curve, who says he'll beat respect into Cruz and show Ash just how grown up he can be, and we go off the air. I wrote, this match sucked and was Monday Night Raw booking of the era. Cruz has shown up, scored a pin in a match he wasn't involved in to become a tag champ, and the very next live show, they've jumped to the three of them looking like they're going to fight. A combustible element joining a group and the other members having to deal with the consequences and figure it out is a good story. These three don't seem capable of telling it, and the booking has rushed them straight to the conclusion.
We've had no explanation as to why Cruz has joined this team.
Yeah.
Nope.
We have no idea who this boy is. He could be any man they've hired off the street. You know, it's just, it is very baffling. Like, you would, as I said, I would expect this, we're in what, episode 16? I would expect this if to happen on like episode 21 or 20, if it had been given enough time to build, not almost the episode after it. Because if I'm going into this, I'm thinking, well, this guy's just hanging about then, and just, you know, like, also the way that the fact that, like, you know, that, oh, some of us can't afford a trip to Hawaii, just kind of seemed like a bit of a, right, okay, where are we going?
Will you permit me a minor spoiler?
Yes, I will.
Yeah, go ahead.
The next time we see the new breed, I believe, is them having a three-way match with the loser having to leave the new breed.
Bloody hell, talk about rushing. It should have been the loser gets to go to Hawaii.
That'll just be three blokes laying down on the mat waiting to be pinned and going, I submit, I submit.
Winner gets a speedboat.
Who gets breed TV in the divorce settlement?
Yeah, I did notice 4 weeks with no breed TV.
Who gets the wrestling ring?
And all the toys.
Fucking expensive, them toys now.
Hell of a custody battle.
Yeah.
You could sell them all and get a trip to Hawaii. A few niggles aside, I sort of think this is our strongest block of TV and storytelling so far.
Easily.
Like, we've ragged on some stuff, but I really like the way the old school faction is starting to form, because we have the two lead members are here, and Priest on commentary has dropped some subtle bits and bobs that he called Justin Richards' old school hero. And he talked about Mr. Blonde's old school sensibilities back when he used to be Flash Barker. So he's planting seeds that this could become more of a thing, which I really liked. The intro to Drew McDonald was really good. Yeah. I love the way they did that with the promo into FanCam. We got our strongest match since episode 3 or 4 with Doug versus Johnny, and the debut of Broxbourne, which is going to become the home of the FWA pretty much until the Morecambe days in 2004, end of 2004, 2005. I also think, as I said, you can tell that something has changed backstage. Despite it all coming from the same taping as episode 13, as soon as Drew cut his promo into the camera to start 14, something felt different and more focused to me. And I think and hope that these episodes are going to get much better in the near future.
I think one thing I noticed, Kieran, on that point, just look at the end of episode 16. How big is that production crew list?
Oh, my thing, and I don't know if you picked up on as well, Andy, it wasn't red anymore in some of them. It's actually blue.
Blue, yeah.
Yes, it was.
Bit of blue for the dads.
Someone's discovered a new color in the editing process.
Andy, do you have any other thoughts on this block of TV?
I think coming out of watching, it's only like an hour and a half in total, this block. I just come away like thinking about the Dino Scarlo and Drew McDonald appearances. I think
it's intriguing, isn't it?
It's some of the most interesting stuff I've seen in a while, and it gets you interested for next time. And
yeah, they're starting to tell a story well.
Yeah, which, to be honest, I think 60 to 70% of the time they've done all right, but
yeah,
they come across more as baddies than what I think we mentioned before about Doug. Like, he's a good worker in that, but his story's a bit wishy-washy.
The belt's becoming more mid-card more than the main thing, which
I think that will change. The belt, the heavyweight title does get. I mean, the whole company gets swept up in old school versus new school eventually, but the belt does become part of that.
I like the kind of teasing of obviously Shane maybe getting involved if something, if the line gets drawn. And I think there will be and I'm curious to see, obviously, especially if they're naming old school hero Justin Richards. I'm curious as to see where the lines are kind of getting drawn and stuff like that. There are stories that we're still missing some development on. Scott Parker and Angel just seems like that's maybe gone the way of the dodo.
I'm not sure if we are going to see Angel again. I haven't watched any
Okay.
further ahead than this. I think they very much start to set up Scott Parker as one of the faces of the new school fighting the Invaders.
Right.
They've
Okay.
already started that with that Drew match.
Do you
Yeah.
do you feel as well with Schamberg that his last man standing match with Alex could be possibly the end of him as a top line one?
Quite possibly, yeah. I can't remember. My only knowledge of that last man standing match is when later on in 2004 they did Alex versus Jack Xavier last man standing, which if you talk to Ben Corrigan, he'll tell you that's the best match in company history. They used some of the lore of Alex versus Guy Thunder last man standing to build that up.
Right.
I'm very interested to see where they go with him, because it's kind of like the company seems to be going through massive changes here.
And this is because Dino Scarlo has arrived, not just in front of the camera, but behind. And he and Alex are very much on the same page about things.
And is
it's a
LSR basically
different
just
page.
taking it? Yeah. Oh, okay.
LSR is usually in agreement. Mark Sloan tends not to be, in my experience. It is not just a rather hostile takeover in front of the cameras.
Okay.
Yeah. Certain people are getting more influence behind the scenes, and that's why it's starting to feel different.
Right. Okay.
Any additional final thoughts?
I think now I've found there's clear we can, from looking in hindsight, we clearly know who the best workers are in this company so far. And it's no doubt that they're still going. Some of them are still. I think only some of them have just recently retired. Doug is retired, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, finally. Twice for the second time.
Jody has basically came out and said, I don't think he can. He doesn't think he's got much left anymore with the injuries and stuff.
And he has already retired at least once.
Yeah.
Johnny's somewhere still doing
stuff. Yeah, still doing stuff, and he's grown hair back.
Well, he needs to get those shades as well, and then he can bring back the X-Pac look that he used to have a good while.
Jesus.
But it's clear to see who we're going to see more of in the future.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, it kind of has me interested in where did these careers go, and where did some of them who didn't go any forward, like a Justin Richards or something like that, what became of them. So I am very interested. And again, they were good, like under 10-minute matches. Some of them were really good. Some of them, So I think we're getting something. We're cooking. I don't know what we're cooking.
Something's happening. Yes, something is happening. Something's coming together. Andy, anything else?
Nothing to really add to that. Just looking forward to next time. Just see what happens. But I do agree with Eddie. You do see who the good workers are. It's the obvious ones: Doug, Johnny, Jody, Flashback, Justin Richards. Not the new breed. They're shit.
Castanos can't even remember where they are. Alex Shane is just
Alex Shane's still Jeff Jarrett of the British wrestling world.
He's the politicking time bomb, Alex Shane.
I will say though, I do agree with Eddie's comparison early on about the Codyverse. Very much, mate.
Yeah. So, if that's it, we are halfway through the MyTV run. We have, I do believe, 14 and the 1 hour series closing special left to go. Thank you, gentlemen, for doing this again. This is fun. This has always been fun. Eddie, you got anything to plug? Where can we find you on the internet if you want to be found?
At Eddie Sideburns on the old Twitter sphere or X sphere, whatever it's called. I don't know. It's a thing. 5 Star Wrestling will be putting on a show. Apparently, and I don't know if you've heard this, apparently I'm going to Philadelphia at some point. This was news to me.
Yeah, you make this joke every show you're on. And now it seems that 5 Star Wrestling are actually putting on a show in Philadelphia over WrestleMania weekend. What the fuck? And Andy, are you going to cover it for the show you do with Wilson?
Maybe so, mate.
I can't comment too much, but all I can say is that in the year 2027, with the 565-man tournament, in numerous continents and numerous, numerous gym halls, 5-star wrestling will be great, but just give it time. But no comment at the moment if I'm going to be in Philadelphia in April and March.
Okay. All right. Andy, what about you? What's going on with Graps and Claps and all that business?
Yeah, so you can follow me at Oggy Patfree on Twitter, at Graps and Claps, follow on Twitter at GCP Podcast 1. We're also on Instagram, Graps and Claps Podcast, and even on TikTok as well, Graps and Claps Podcast.
And it is not Andy and Jeff doing dances outside pubs,
It's
which is
not.
quite disappointing.
It's not. So recently we've done reviews of True Grit Wrestling from Left Bank in Leeds, and Tidal's first show of the year in Huddersfield, and also me, Jeff, and Chris Linney going to Mega Slam Wrestling at the worst hotel in Manchester, Sasha's, home of prostitutes. But cracking show. Everyone who's a wrestling fan needs to do a Mega Slam show in their life just to appreciate good wrestling. Coming up, we've got the next episode of 5-Star Wrestling as we go to the Fly DSA Arena in Sheffield.
You've made that up.
No,
That's not a real place.
it is an arena. We've got that coming up, and also reviews from Grand Pro Wrestling in Hindley. And next coming up in the next couple of weeks, we've got the first episode of Muck with Matty Edwards.
The sequel to Shite.
Yes. So it will be looking at the feud between Triple H and Kane over Katie Vick.
Oh my God.
The whole story arc of 1 month.
That is, without even having heard it, I can guarantee that'll be a must listen. I've got a hair in my mouth. Okay, so I'm on Twitter at Kieran Edits. Today, in fact, I launched an Instagram account. Kieran is here too. I will be using it only to archive and share photos I've taken of wrestling as a wrestling fan over the years. It only has one picture up as we record this, which is John Moxley facing off with Minoru Suzuki at Ota Ward Gym New Year Dash 2020. It's a photo I love. So yeah, I'm just going to put stuff up there. Follow it if you like. This show. Oh wait, what's the other thing I do? Every week I co-host Musty Matches with Mark Buckledy, the Essentials of Pro Wrestling as nominated by you. As I record this, I believe we only have 14 episodes left to go. We just released episode 90, which is the long Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada match from Dominion 2018, all 69 gosh darn minutes of it. You can go to linktr.ee/mustymatches to find everything to do with that show. This show is at FWApod on Twitter and Blue Sky, and FWA.pod on Instagram. And if you go to linktr.ee/FWApod, there's all the ways to subscribe if you don't do that already. That was a bit of a mess. I should probably write that out properly to do it better in the future. That's it. Thank you very much for listening. We will be back next month with another show, and there's 2 things you can do about it.
FWA.